So, warm welcome from my side. We heard a lot about AI today already, and we also had the gaming session. And my role at Arvato Systems is always to create synergies. This is why my title is Innovation Lead Emerging Tech, because at some point during the last years, I figured I started with Web3. Who still remembers like these NFTs? They are coming back. Who owns an NFT? None of you. Yeah. Okay. So thank you. So yeah. Okay. This was a short period of time. It might be coming back, and then we had the metaverse. Who remembers the metaverse hype? Okay. Yes. And then suddenly there was this thing called generative AI. And with ChatGPT, we all had the option to actually do something immediately. And I think this was one of those crucial moments that happen in innovation when you think, yeah, okay, I understand how to do this. This happens. So we can build something out of this. And I want to introduce you today to a product that we created for product information management and how we simplify e-commerce with this product. Before I dive into this, as I said, there's a lot of innovations that might make sense to developers because in their opinion, well, this is great, this works great, this could work great. But in the end, the market decides, and technology does not exist for its own sake, but to make everyday lives better. And I think when we dive into IT and development, this is always what we have to keep in mind. What works, what doesn't work. And coming from a corporate, I want to introduce you to Bertelsmann. Also, this is like, I was so happy when we decided to do this booth over there together. We have 4 companies from the Bertelsmann company, from the Bertelsmann universe. I didn't know that I would be on this stage, but now it's like, hey, you can take a look over there. How do we find synergies in this really huge ecosystem that exists? And you see Bertelsmann is, maybe you don't know the name Bertelsmann, or you know that it was somehow connected with books, but it's one of the biggest media players worldwide with RTL, Penguin Random House, BMG, also the service group, which we are part of, the education services and the marketing services. So, yeah. And Arvato Systems, we belong to the Arvato group, the service systems, and we are part of the IT. So we really build stuff, software, and we are integration partner, not only at Bertelsmann, but also for external companies. So when we started with AI, and I do a lot of these speaking opportunities and I like to talk to people, everybody felt like this is maybe the moment of Terminator. There is some intelligence, and then there were these news like, yeah, it performs better in university tests than humans, and everybody thought like, what is in the next 20 years? What happens then? And also in Europe, we have the AI Act, all the regulations. So we often feel like we might be behind, and we have heard this today as well from Liz Lorange. It's kind of, might we be losing our jobs? Might we be taking over by AI? But if you use it in your everyday life already, and I think this is how AI should be feeling in the end for us, it's something that helps you. Like, oh my God, I have to do a presentation or a summary. Who doesn't use ChatGPT in this moment? If you need a quick summary, if you need a quick checkup, normally we use ChatGPT. I even had this very, very funny moment that I wrote an email like I used to do in the past, an invitation. And in the end, I put like an extra paragraph in bold letters that said, for everybody, blah, 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 please join at 12. 80% of the people didn't read it. It was made by a human brain, not by ChatGPT anymore. And I figured ChatGPT might have done it better. It might have been a good assistance. I maybe should have checked it with ChatGPT before I send it out. And this kind of simplification and efficiency is what we're looking for in our everyday lives. And it should, in the end, and we will see whether this happens, help us to have more space and freedom for creativity. And this is how we approach the product that I'm talking about today. It's called Co-Author. And the idea behind this is exactly to do this. Who of you ever had to enter data to a shop like Shopify for a product? Was it fun? No. I had an online shop too, and I still remember when there was a promotion like Christmas, Valentine's Day, did spend nights doing this, and maybe there was a mistake in the data. So for one of our clients, we thought about how can we facilitate this, and not only facilitate entering metadata, but do a lot more with the data that then exists. And the idea is one image, all data. So you see the San Pellegrino bottle here. I think it's an older image, by the way. I was told by Nestlé that the packaging doesn't look like this anymore. But basically, we have all the information that is needed for the shop on this packaging already. So if we now take a picture, we can extract all the data from this picture already. And then, like you know it from ChatGPT, how can we help you today? And the thing that you want to see most of the time is you need a short description, you need a long description, but you also need to verify that the data is correct. You also want to find out what do others pay for this product? Can I do a cross-checking? Can I maybe get recommendations for cross-selling? And this is how Co-Author exists, and is supposed to help you to do exactly this. So I know it's a little bit small. This is why I'm very happy that we have these really, really large screens here today. If we extract the data directly from the image, you will see it gives you certain very important things like what is the size, what is the weight, what product is this, and it can already identify all of this from a product. If it makes a mistake, and this is why we, of course, still have the control by human being, you can check this. It will also tell you when there is some kind of misconcept, and it will check the data quality. For example, in this case, it tells you that the weight might not be correct. I don't know if you can see it, but this was way too heavy, and it will tell you, well, I don't think that this is correct. The same it will do if you put a pricing of 99 euros for a bottle of water. It will tell you, is this really the price? Is it a super luxury product? Then you would need a special description to make it outstanding from the other products. Otherwise, it might not work. And normally, this bottle of water would cost between 3 euros and 5 euros. And this check you can also do for all the products that you already have in the shop. At the moment, this product is running with BMW, but for other clients, also if it comes to insurances, other e-commerce shops, you just choose like what direction you want to go and what questions do you normally ask to the product so that it gives you the right answer and also checks what the others are doing in the company so that you always have updated data. It was very interesting for a soccer club. We did this. We presented a demo. And the lady who was responsible was like, oh my God, you really have no G10 on any of our products. So it's also good for a check that doesn't come from an outside person who might tell you like, well, maybe this is not under control here, but you can do it on your own. You can check it like every week, every month, how often you need it. Next step is it will suggest products that are good for cross-selling. In this case, maybe straws, maybe glasses, whatever you need. So the idea is to increase and monitor data quality. Of course, we always want to facilitate content generation to make it more quickly and easily and have more options for cross-selling products that we in our daily might not come up with. Consistent and fast, this is what the product delivers and what it's supposed to do. And still, and this is what I also want to talk about today, we have all this new tech, but we still have the old challenges. And coming from an IT company, the old challenges, you see it on this AI-generated picture, it's silos. It used to be data silos, it is still data silos, and data silos are also the biggest hurdle for integrating AI in a correct way. Because if I want my AI tool to work, it needs the right data that it is based on. So, the challenges of AI implementation are, of course, is it consistent? How do I handle this in my organization? And often it looks like this. We have all these different parts in the company, and everyone, like last year, came up with, I need AI now. So you look for a tool, and one department might have this idea, the other one this idea. And if you don't talk to one another, which unfortunately happens most of the time, there might be this AI zoo. So we recommend that there is some governance that controls that all tools work together. Arvato Systems has Avia Intelligence that is working with different tools. So we are working agnostically and use all different AI systems that we build on depending on what is needed. Because, you know, the different systems are sometimes better for this case, sometimes better for this case. And this prevents, in the future, having more costs by installing more and more systems that might not communicate well with one another. We heard about the agents today. But of course, if one agent doesn't understand the other, we might have the same problems in communication like we have with humans that don't understand the other language. So over time, thinking this right in the beginning, it will save you costs in the future. And preventing the AI zoo for everybody who knows how complicated it is already to deal with different data silos, they will for sure understand that this is super necessary. My message today, don't be afraid. I think most people who are sitting here today aren't. Is anybody not working with an AI tool in this room? No. So you are all testing this already. I myself, of course, I am sometimes afraid, especially of the memory function and what might happen in the future. But I still think it's important to use the tools to get acquainted with them and to feel safe. Also with the AI Act, we will see what happens with this, but don't be too afraid to try things out because of the rest of the world is doing this as well. We want to make less mistakes, to have more freedom, to have less headache and pain and no silos, so that this is all facilitated, that we talk more together. And to be honest, I'm very, very happy still today that we achieved the synergy of our different companies, which is already a symbol that working together is better than working against one another, and talking with one another is the best. And I'm happy, if you're not following me yet, give me a follow on LinkedIn to connect. And now, Ben, are you there? Because it's too much light. We already talked about, so why is Beiersdorf coming right now? And what I like to do a lot in my daily, I have an event that is called Future Meets Industry. And I think that especially we corporates, we feel like big tankers, and we are not that agile. This is our strongest pain all the time. And being not that agile, and also knowing this, I felt it's time that we always meet together. And I think this is also happening a lot more, because in Europe we really need to unite, also as corporates, to see where are our struggles and where can we find synergies and learn from one another. So I was very happy that when we invited and asked Ben to come and talk a little bit about gamification, because I think this is one of the parts that's really growing very fast. We heard from Tepper today, also a Bertelsmann company. It's needed. There is an age gap, but if we look at the younger generation, since COVID, I think there is not a single moment where a younger person would say gaming is not important.
Agreed.
And this is why I'm very, very happy, Ben, if it comes to innovation at Beiersdorf, you're the one for digital campaign. And I'm very happy that you're presenting what Beiersdorf tested to really get into a world that was kind of totally unknown, but still a success. The stage is yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, guys, thank you very much for attending this presentation. My name is Ben Polter, and I work as a digital campaign development manager at the company Beiersdorf. I'm happy to share our test case on Roblox and also what this has to do with Generation Z. But first of all, some corporate mumbo jumbo. So, as I said, Beiersdorf, it's a very old company. It's a very heritage-driven company, in fact. So next to that, our consumer and teaser business is the focus, as a skincare consumer business, and teaser is focusing on the adhesive systems. We are a DAX-listed company. We have more than 20,000 employees on a global level in more than 170 affiliates. As I assume that most of you guys know the brand Nivea, which is also our lifeblood brand. We have also very known other brands like Eucerin or Hansaplast, or even luxury brands like La Prairie and natural cosmetics like Chantecaille. Before I get into the details of our game and our learnings of the test case, I just want to start from scratch, where we basically said, okay, when we want to create a kind of game, what would be the most suitable generation in this regard? And very shortly, we ended up with a Generation Z here, because also a very impactful generation. Every fifth person on the planet is part of this generation, and especially in the emerging markets, they are quite heavily part of. Okay, but also, okay, we might go with the Generation Z. What is the next step to do in order to get more insights? It was basically, we needed or we wanted to understand how do they tick? What is their engagement driver? And what are they really engaged with when it comes to gaming? But also the fact that the Generation Z is the first generation who is digital native, right? So their reality is a seamless blend between the digital and the physical world. When we take a look on some certain platform, which are the most beloved one from the Generation Z is, as you can see here. For me personally, I used to be a gamer quite a long time ago, you know, when I was young. So I was not really aware about Roblox, right, by this time, right? I heard it sometimes, but not really aware of it. And I was also overwhelmed by the fact that those people spent nearly 3 hours on a daily basis on their mobile, right? So that was a big wow for me, at least. Next to that, which was also a big plus, that the gender split was quite equal, right? The females are 40%, males are 60%. For instance, while Fortnite have just 10% of female players on their platform, I said, okay, well, that's a good plus. Let's go for Roblox. And besides that, a very innovative company as well, because they launch feature after feature after feature. And as well, they launched also commerce functionalities. And that was also another big plus for us when it comes to the game. So the name of the game was the Nivea Tower Run, and I will guide you through the rationales, the results, and also the recipe of the successful case. But first things first, I want to give a big shout out also to our partners. On the left-hand side, you see Geek, which is a London-based company, and they provided very data-driven and strategy import for us. And on the right-hand side, who's also in-house today is Tan, company from Hamburg as well, Jungformat Nerd, and they provided the creative part, but also the very much gaming mechanism behind. Okay, let's summarize. So we said Gen Z is our key audience in this regard, and also we want to appear like a very cool and modern brand, right? Because also, as you might also know this, some people, or especially of the younger generation, like Gen Z, they know Nivea from the drugstore or from the, even worse, grandma's washing room, right? So we focus on to be a modern brand and to be appealing brand, which is also appearing on the most beloved platform, which is Roblox in this regard. But seeing is believing. Please see a short movie of this game. All right, coming now to the game, the content. So as we can see, the concept was quite simple. We had 4 stages, and the main character of this game was the tower itself. We had 4 levels. This was also linked to the fact that we had also 4 products we wanted to place in this game. And the ultimate goal of this game was to achieve going up until the roof. And for that, we, or as also a reward for the players who actually achieved to go to the top, was a so-called UGC, a user-generated creation. I mean, if you guys know Roblox, that's a very big thing. It's everything about those UGCs. Yeah, going and achieving the top, you got additional UGCs, which is quite engagement part of the platform Roblox. Yeah, the inside of the tower, or basically focusing on the different levels, as I said, 4 levels. It was basically a jump and run game, right? As you know, I think every one of you knows Super Mario, right? So very, very focused on this typical jump and run approach, because also right in the beginning we saw it as also that like a shoot 'em up game would not suit the connection to our brand, which is all about care. Yeah, as I said, there were 4 levels, and on each level there was also a certain product attached or represented by. So that was also what you saw just on the slide beforehand. And also, we were very, very conscious about the fact that we should not place pure product marketing or product placement here, right? So also, as you can you read it? Yeah, you can read it. The Nivea Cleanser Boost, that was not the real naming of the product itself. That was basically the real product was Derma Skin Clear Washing Gel. But as I said, not much product-driven marketing at this stage. And this product you can see here, that was a so-called Power Up, right? The Power Up was additional thing to basically not lose energy, right? So because it was, and we'll also come to that, it was a quite challenging game, right? But in order to go better through the levels or the different wells, you had the possibility to get this power up, which protected your energy level at some point. Okay, coming back to the UGCs, because they're quite important and they're quite a very important recipe of our success in this case. Those were all created by creators which are very familiar with the community and very, very known for the platform Roblox. So that was also very, very important for us. to, to get also, to be really frank, to get in connection with the people who really, really knows the game, right? As you can also see here, is that we wanted to convey our brand message throughout colors and shapes, right? Those are, because it's everything at some point, it's blue, or you can see the Nivea tin in it, or even the pump, which was the Nivea cowboy hat. So also very conscious about not just pure marketing doing it, or like writing Nivea on it. That was very, very important for us. But as you can imagine, when you want to measure success, they need something behind, right? So on the first level, it was very, very easy, counting just on the visits or the average spent time on the game. So that's why in the end, we also added this kind of an engagement thingy here that I know it's not really in-depth analysis driven here, but at least we got to count somehow a kind of like indication or broad information how they liked it. And this is also one UGC here. You can see there was also the pump. I'm not sure. I think it was also one of the most beloved UGC throughout the entire game. With our step into Roblox, yeah, we wanted to say hi and do the community like us, because as we have to say, we just have to admit that Nivea, it's not like the most brand which is very much engaged with younger consumers, right? So as I also previously said, like some of the people, they sometimes, or they basically say, yeah, well, I know it from my mom or my grandmom. And we have completely changed in this regard. That was a big game changer since a long time, because like, for instance, my mother used Nivea because my grandmother used Nivea. And maybe I also used Nivea before I worked at Beiersdorf. But at some point, like younger generation are very conscious. They are very, very much not like tradition driven. They are more into, okay, is it sustainable? What kind of ingredients are in it? And they're really, really analyzing this at some point. And that was also something we were really conscious about, like talking, when we talk on the Gen Z here, it needs to be a kind of like playful conversation with them, as a kind of rule which counts for Roblox. So engaging with the global community, that was also very important for us, not just like Germany or Europe. We wanted to be like everywhere in order to find it out. Providing a very fun but also challenging experience here, because also like one side note at this point, I tested this game a lot, right? So I did not play for like more than 10 years, just FIFA, right? FIFA, I'm a FIFA guy, right? Not really into jump and run anymore. I stopped at Super Mario. And I said, Tan from Jungformat, basically, Tan, please change the difficulty of this game. It's way too much difficult. Nobody will achieve the UGCs in the end. Because like I spent hours, to be really honest, spent hours, and I did not achieve the 4th level. And at some points I thought I was quite good, but I said it's way too difficult. And Tan said, no, we will keep it like that. I guarantee you that that this is basically the right level, as we also know from other games. And I was like, we will fail at some point, but in the end I must admit that I was wrong. So it was the right kind of level here, because also we saw people getting the UGC and going to the top and finishing eventually the game. That was just within hours. So I should really work on my gaming skills. Foster the co-creation, talking and working together with those creators who really know the game, but also know the community and what kind of like shapes and UGCs could be appealing. And eventually execute with exclusive UGC. As I said, this is basically the currency on Roblox. Everyone wants this, right? And this is also how you create engagement with the Gen Z on Roblox, because they obviously also, as other consumers as well, what's in for me. And that's why that was also very important. Results? We were told, if you create a kind of similar game, also with the amount of UGCs at some point, and the given budget, you end up around average time 5 minutes. Our result was more than 7 minutes. Big success at some point. Because also it was a mini game, right? It was not like a big world like Nighttown or like other games here, or Gucci Town or whatsoever. That was not the case. As Geek told us, similar games with 5 UGCs achieve more or less 50K view of earned media, and that's primarily because this is also the channels which you see here, YouTube and X is mostly used by the community. We achieved after 5 weeks more than 500,000 of views of engaging of earned media here, and that was just mind-blowing. We didn't expect on that. And even though on other channels which we did not consider at all in the first place. So there was also additionally TikTok and also Reddit, big time. Here just an example. In addition to that, how engaged was the community at some point, especially when we kicked it off with the blue teddy hoodie, which you also saw in the beginning, that the community was really, really engaged about this and wanted to have it. So in total, the community spent a lot of time on the game itself. So a total visit of 1.1 million. Average time, as I mentioned, more than 7 minutes. Led to the fact that people spend with the brand, or when you encounter that Nivea was part of this mini game, more than 14 years. That's a quite big number, and we did not expect this. So this is more or less an engagement of 29 million TikToks. That's quite a lot. Last but not least, as I also just said, the community also created marketing for us, right? That was not all paid from ourselves. They were so engaged about those UGCs that they also shared it in their name and say, hey, there's a very, very great way to get a very appealing UGC. And also after 5 weeks or so, we had more than 200 video creation on YouTube, which also prominently said that the UGC on this game is really, really nice. Okay. Sorry, there's some errors in the headline. They are going one after another. That was a kind of mistake from my side. Sorry about that. So this is basically the clear results here. So first of all, a clear goal and KPIs defined. That was really, really important at some point, how we basically get from which kind of audience we are going for, what kind of platform it will be, and then defining the average time, but also the total visits. Database decision, right? So our decision was not a gut feeling decision. It was defined on clear data-based information. So that was also very important here. And also the platform native approach. We really, really wanted to be on an eye level with the Generation Z, right? Also not like, hey, we are the dusty brand Nivea. No, we really wanted to be the modern, cool brand on the platform. And as well, as you can see also throughout the game, it was not like we knew from the beginning that we can't just copy and paste the TVC and being like traditional Nivea. No, we were completely aware of the fact that we need also to adapt to the Roblox platform. And last but not least, again, a big shout out to our partners, because with our partners, it wouldn't have been possible. To be really frank, at the beginning, we did not know nothing about Roblox, but in the end, together with our experts, we achieved a very, very nice and good, successful case. Thank you very much for listening, and if you want to get in contact with me, do it via LinkedIn.